life-threatening illnesses, depression, anxiety. There's always going to be something. While we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Welcome to this New Year's special edition of Contagious Courage with Vaughan King. Over this last year, I have had the privilege of interviewing some amazing people with incredible stories of courage. And today I just want to stop and recap all of the inspiration that has been brought to you right here on the set of Contagious Courage. Take a look.
I was just holding out hope that they weren't going to find any more cancer, but they did. So since that time, it's recurred in my spine and now in both lungs. So again, it's a conscious choice every day to look for that courage and wake up and say, I am not going to drown in this fear today. I am going to practice looking for courage and looking for joy.
I was born on this date and I died on this date. And there's a dash in between. My wife is into genealogy. She loves looking up the King history. But the thing that I'm really intrigued with, as she's been looking at all these people that are in my ancestral tree, is not when they were born or not when they died so much as what did they do with their life in the bits in between.
I'm going to read one of the quotes actually in your chapter. At the beginning it says, life is not about having it all together all the time. Rather, it's about having the ability to put it back together once it's fallen apart. Tammy, there's a lot in here that is said without being said. Could you explain to me some of those moments in your life when you've had to pull yourself back together?
So I guess to start with, I would start with the depression because that came first. Something that I never thought I would have to deal with personally because I was a strong woman, career oriented, felt like I really had my life together. And to be honest, even though I was a nurse, I kind of thought that people that went through depression were people who couldn't get through the issues that they were dealing with. And what I would say to anyone going through those struggles, so first of all, don't be ashamed or afraid to reach out. God is not meant for us to walk this journey alone. And so, and seek wise counsel, seek help from your physician if you need to, but seek the Lord. And He can do exceeding abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. And so He'll turn it around, and joy really can come after all of those things.
And it's been tough because my husband is trying to tell me things where I'm worth, I'm loved, I'm these things that I wanted from my dad or even my mom. My childhood stuff, those first 15 years of hard love, like that you didn't get, it never happened. So it's like, how do you get rid of that? How do you get past that? Allow me to put His eyes in so that I can see the way He sees me. And I pray this now. This is huge on my heart right now in my life, that I am looking at myself the way God sees me. And it's like He sees me full of life, and love, and joy, and peace.
I didn't know when I was pregnant at all. They were considered high risk because they were identical twins. So I did have many, many ultrasounds, and they were watched for other things, but there was nothing to indicate that they had tuberous sclerosis until they were 5 months old, and Annie started having seizures first, and then Audrey as well a few weeks later. And so they went through some tests, and for sure they both had TSC.
From what the reason I have so much joy is because I'm so close to the ones I have to serve physically. And I think the more we spend with people who are different than us, who are unlike us, the less awkward we feel. Because really, I've heard it said that it's really us who brings the awkwardness to the situation at times, right? A lot of times it's like that person probably doesn't think this is awkward at all. But it's us who are not used to that, right? And so as long as we as the church start seeing people who are different or who have social deficits or different impairments we need to start seeing them as value added to our church, and not as someone who needs a service or someone who needs ministry too.
Right. Yes.
We all need some ministry too. We all need to be served at times, but we also all need a place to belong, and we need a place that we can serve.
Her son's wedding to planning his funeral in 12 days.
Yes. Jordan's 23rd birthday. And unbeknownst to him, his dad and I were also celebrating the fact that our son was being successfully launched. And then 12 days later, we get word that our son had died in a workplace accident. And we were in shock. Like, how can this be? We just barely opened the wedding presents. I'm actually very sad to have to tell you that I did go through a crisis of faith. Because when the shock of my grief started to lift and I started to realize all that I had lost. I mean, Jordan was so excited for the future.
I've been experiencing firsthand how God can recycle my pain for his good purposes. Speak into it.
Yes, well, there's kind of a phrase that God gave me, and it was that God promises to recycle my pain for his good purpose as I participate. And I realize that God doesn't need me, but he invites me to leverage this grief for his glory. And so instead of being so self-absorbed with self-pity, which is so easy for me, I said, God, okay, I don't like this plan, I don't agree with your timing, but I realize that you are God and I am not. So yes, almost immediately, he brought opportunities to share my story, to encourage others, and every time I would say, God, this is way over my head, above my punching weight. I can't believe you asked me to do this, but because I already said yes, I'm going to walk through this door, but you better show up big, because I am desperately dependent on you.
I've learned that I've had to trust God no matter what. I remember thinking, trust God. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, so trust God means I get up every morning and I thank God for my day. I ask that he's the center of my world. I ask him to forgive me for my sins, to use me, and there I go. But it wasn't working. So I'm doing what I was taught, and yet it's not working. And I feel like a loser. I don't want to get out of bed some days. I'm discouraged. My daughter is struggling. My finances are struggling. My dreams are all dead. And I had to learn to start trusting him. And so then it was realizing that trust was choosing to believe beyond what I see.
And one of the songs that actually went international was Trust. And we're going to get you to sing a little bit of that song today. But what was the inspiration behind that song?
I actually wrote that song when my daughter was on the lung transplant list and I'd hit my absolute wall. It was at a point where I didn't know what else to do. So the chorus goes, I trust you beyond what I see. I trust you because you're bigger than me.
Yes.
I trust you because I know that you're real. You give me hope in the doubt.
Life's a journey, it seems to know. When I'm weak, you are strong. Longing for direction to hear your voice. Living another day. Hope feels so far away. Selfish motives, things to prove. Just I trust you beyond what I see. I trust you. You're bigger than I know that you give me hope in the doubt.
And I want you to first of all explain why you chose the fairy tale of Snow White to talk about this topic of identity.
I think it actually stemmed from one of the stories that my mom used to say, and still does, about me being 4 and looking into a mirror and asking myself, what color will I be today, white or black? And the only other fairy tale story that I know that has a mirror is the story of Snow White.
Yes.
And it's the evil stepmother looking into the mirror saying, you know, who's the most beautiful of them all? So it's kind of that idea of seeing your own image and questioning what you're seeing. Affirmations are things I tell myself, you know, I am a woman, now I'm a mom, and these are labels that I'm putting on myself. And actually, it really wasn't until Meghan Markle married Prince Harry that I was like, oh, fairy tales can happen. You know, it's that whole prince and the princess, but she wasn't a princess, and she's, you know, one that says, you know, I'm a woman and I'm mixed. And up until that point, I would say I was mixed, but seeing her say it with like such just confidence, like I'm both, I'm like, yes, finally someone who gets me. And I think that's why it's important to talk about it, because that nobody else's opinion of you matters. I know it feels like it does, and for me, I'm like, oh, what do they think? And then being on the radio, and did people like what I just said? But I mean, ultimately, it's true that what God's opinion is of you, because that's unchanging. That's the foundation of how do we live our life. Everybody else's opinions will also change.
Yes,
that's always wavering. Your opinion of yourself will change.
Yeah.
So the only firm opinion of you
Amen.
is from our Creator, and that's what we have to base everything on.
Absolutely.
Right, and I just saw a desk and not responding. I remember the neurosurgeon nurse came into the room I was having my x-ray done to tell me that Adessa won't make it.
This is my sister's too. Look.
And I told her, you go back there, and because it's not today that my daughter is gonna die.
That was one of the hardest days of my life, and what they told me, she won't make it. And I remember at that time, you know, I packed all the little faith I have inside of me.
Yes.
And I screamed to God. I told him, it's not today my dad is going to live. You are the God of miracle. I need a miracle right now. You know, sometimes when those kind of things happen in your life, you basically turn out to God. I'm like, why? Like, seriously, why? Especially with everything I was doing really good on a spiritual side. And I was like, is it your way to say thank you to me? But that's not how I felt on that day.
Yes.
And I say, I serve a God who's faithful.
Yes.
And that event really bring me closer to God.
Wow. Say if you said, oh, well, Avery, you mean you're only a little kid. You know, I don't have time to pray. What would you tell somebody who says, I don't have time to pray?
Make time.
Make time.
You have your own schedule.
That is definitely words of wisdom. If you don't have time, make time. Before we go, Avery is going to pray over myself and whoever is watching. She's just going to close us in prayer in her war room. So, Avery, would you be so kind as to pray with us? Thank you.
Sure. Jesus, thank you that I get to be here with Vahen and whoever's watching. That I just pray that you would keep working through me and work through the people that are also watching.
Yes.
And Jesus, I pray that you just keep the routine of whatever you're doing through everybody, Jesus,
Yes.
that would stay as it is and keep improving and improving. And I pray that you would just keep Vahen safe in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. As you've just seen, courage is not the absence of fear, but choosing to act in spite of fear. We've seen everything from cancer cannot destroy my courage to a 10-year-old prayer warrior. Maybe you're facing something today that you are so fearful and wondering if you're going to have the strength to choose courage. Please share it with us. You know, I believe that we are better together, and when we share our weaknesses, then other people are strengthened. I believe that courage is contagious and we must share it. Thank you for watching this New Year's special edition of Contagious Courage with Vaughan King. And until I see you in February, I want to say, not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to you and your name goes all the honor and glory for your unfailing love and faithfulness. Bye for now. Wait, no, don't record. You know, over this last year, I've had the opportunity to do your face thing again.